Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about the Fast Five. All right, we talked yesterday about the winnowing categories, okay, how to winnow out, and I gave 3 examples for third rail candidates that should be forgotten, okay. I gave 3 candidates for Pepsi candidates, people who are good in and of themselves, but there's already somebody in the campaign with more momentum or more talent. We talked about base-only candidates and how we can now ignore them. People who are only going to win Democrat base votes. They're not going to be able to deliver any cheeseburger-eating Ford F-150 driving votes. None. We talked about sliver-only candidates. Candidates who wouldn't even be able to deliver the full Democrat base, right? Just slivers of the base, right? Like, Ivy League graduates and media types and coastal elites, those kind of things, right? Today, let's talk about the remainder. Let's talk about the Fast Five, the 5 primary candidates. I just want to do a kind of a refresh on the information on where we're at. I want to talk about the 5 top candidates, and I want to give you, and I'll give that to you now. It's Harris, it's Warren, it's Biden, it's Sanders, it's Andrew Yang. These are our top 5s, okay? And I want to talk today about what's their greatest weakness, what's their greatest strength. Out of 100%, what are the percentages these people have, in my estimation, of winning the primary, and why I've chosen that percentage. All right, let's talk about it. All right, Harris, what is her greatest weakness? What is her greatest strength? Kamala Harris's greatest weakness by far is she is a Republican and not a Democrat. She is a Democrat in name only, a dino, right? She really is a Republican here. So hear me out, right? One of the biggest things that the Democrats are talking about right now is private prisons, right? Kamala Harris spent most of her career filling those private prisons with convicts, right? With actually, I don't want to use the term convict, with detainees, with prisoners, right? With people who were sent to jail based on her work, right? Super aggressive on crime. That's straight Republican, right? Attack politics. We saw it on Thursday. She unpacks them. She attacks exactly the way Trump attacks, right? Tag your enemy, isolate their weakness, drive that political dagger into the weakness. She has got complete Trump strategy, attack politics down. She's using his playbook, okay? That's straight Republican, right? And then religious. She purports to be Christian, and she brings a pretty conservative Christian element into her candidacy. That's straight Republican, man. Like Democrats are not the place you generally find Christians, right? It's not, right? And generally, especially evangelical Christians and conservative Christians have long been considered a Republican bastion, right? So the reality is, Kamala Harris she's a dino. She's a Democrat in name only, right? She really is way more red than she is blue, okay, when it comes to her politics, all right? Okay, what is her greatest strength, right? Aggression. She is super aggressive, man, and she can handle that aggressiveness, right? And here's the thing. It looks really strange being an aggressive Democrat because it's not supposed to be part of the Democrat culture, okay? But the reality is Americans are incredibly responsive to aggression, right? In this world, like, leaders like one word better than any other word in the world, and that is done, right? And you know how you get things done? Aggression. This country super, super, super loves aggression, right? And I'm talking aggression from an intellectual perspective, from an emotional perspective, from those 2 perspectives, right? Not in any kind of physical way. Our country has 0 tolerance for physical aggression anymore, right? Within the confines of our own country, right? But she is incredibly aggressive. She uses that aggression as a tool. And frankly, it's just, I'm not sure that's ever going to change. Americans love aggression. And she uses aggression better than, she is the most aggressive candidate among the Democrats by far, and uses that tool better than anyone else. All right, let's talk about Warren. Elizabeth Warren, what is her greatest weakness? Her greatest weakness is that her political profile absolutely mirrors Hillary. It is incredibly mirror-like of Hillary, okay? So Elizabeth Warren has had the same woes in life, the same struggles that Hillary Clinton had, right? They were born about the same time, okay? In addition to that, she has been a wife and a mother as a political leader, right? That is incredibly rare, to be a successful politician while you are a wife and a mother, right? Hillary and Elizabeth Warren both went through that gauntlet. Both had to deal with the same exact issues in their life, and it shaped them incredibly similarly, right? To the point where Elizabeth Warren's policies and her stances are almost identical to Hillary, right? So Elizabeth Warren's political profile is virtually a mirror of Hillary's, right? Now, the problem here is in the last election, everyone saw in super slow motion Hillary get roasted by Trump. And frankly, seeing somebody coming forward with a political career and with a political profile that looks virtually identical to someone who got crushed by Donald Trump, who was way, way, way weaker than he's going to be in this election, right? The reality is, incumbents come. When you're an incumbent, you get a whole set of weapons that you never had before. You get a whole set of armor that you never had before. You get a hero's feast that's gonna take you through, right? And you get a herald, right? You have a herald. You have new weapons. You have new armor, right? You and you get a hero's feast, right? And Donald Trump is he is gonna be a much, much, much stronger competitor than he was in 2016. And we, the entire nation, already watched in slow motion him tear apart, right, Hillary Clinton. So how are we going to be like, oh man, this person looks like they have exactly the same political profile as the person who just got roasted by the same person? It's going to frighten people. It's going to really, and I think subconsciously people are already like, oh boy, oh man, this seems like a deadlock loss, right? It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. What is her greatest strength? The plans, right? She has real plans. She has done a ton of political work to have real plans for real problems. It is incredibly impressive. And one of the things that has made it even more impressive than it would have been is candidates like Pete Buttigieg, who did not do the work, right? And make the fact that she has a plan for everything look even more shiny. It's very, very attractive. It's very impressive. She deserves every point she's getting for having a plan for every situation. Mostly, you know what I mean? She's a competitor, right? She really is. She gets a lot of points for that, and they're well deserved. All right, Biden. Let's talk about Joe Biden. What is Joe Biden's biggest problem? Vacation. That's all he ever wanted, right? Joe Biden running for president in 2020 was not Joe Biden's idea, okay? I can tell you right now, it is my opinion that a ton of Democrats went to Joe Biden and said, listen, you got a huge amount of political capital just sitting here, and we need you to use it, right? You have the goodwill of President Obama, and we need you to put it in gear, man, because we are in trouble. And boy, are they right. We are, Democrats are in serious trouble. There's a guy named John Dickerson. He's the host of 60 Minutes right now, and he used I've been listening to people for 4 years calling Trump an idiot, right? This guy is dyed-in-the-wool liberal, and he recently said that he is beginning to think that Donald Trump may be one of the most significant political geniuses of the century, of the 20th and the 19th century, and that the way he has used political communication and the way he is stepping forward and reshaping political communication is the likes of which we have not seen in well over 120 years, right? That's a dyed-in-the-wool liberal saying, "Oh my gosh, I think Donald Trump may be a genius," right? And the reason why is it's been so fun for the Democrats to just mock him mercilessly, but it's been incredibly dangerous. He was underestimated in 2016, and smart people like John Dickerson are saying we don't have the luxury to underestimate him anymore. We just don't, right? We have to game recognize game, period, right? Okay, so basically, and here's the issue, right? Joe Biden did not want to run for president. He's not running for president because he has a vision for the future. He's running for president to make sure that Trump isn't president. That's not a good reason, right? It's not a good reason. And the issue is, I think you can see it on Joe Biden's face every day as he's campaigning. He's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here? And the truth is, he's 76 years old. He could be playing golf in Florida. The reality is, I don't think he wanted to be here, and I think it's showing, right? What's his greatest strength? Obama. He carries every single bit of goodwill from President Obama. He really does, right? And it is armor for him. It is a weapon for him. It is powerful. We see that every day, right? And he earned it. He paid the 8 years. He was vice president. Vice president ain't a good job. Like, that's a sucky job, man. Everybody's like, oh yeah, you're number 2. It's the most classic number 2 in the world. It is a sucky job, especially for politicians. Politicians don't like to be second banana, man. It ain't fun, right? But Joe Biden did it. He paid his dues. He's there, right? Let's talk about Sanders. Woo! Bernie Sanders. What is his number one problem? What is his greatest weakness? He is a socialist. He has been a socialist for 30 years. And 30 years ago, in the 60s or 70s, he picked up the socialist flag and he waved it boldly, right? And frankly, I think a lot of people thought that was going to be okay, even in the 20th century, even in 2019. They're like, oh, the distinction between socialist Democrat and socialist communist, people are going to understand that. But on the debate, right, they went across the board and they're like, what's the greatest threat to America? People were like, China, 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 China. Yeah, they're a major threat. Guess what they are? They're the number one proponents of socialism in the world, right? And so Bernie, he really, every day he's like, oh man, I really wish I could get this sticky, red hammer and sickle cross out my hand, right? I think, socialist was a really cool label in the 70s. Ain't so cool now, right? It really isn't, right? So that is by far his number one problem, okay? What is his strength? The goodwill he has earned on his own. He has earned an incredible amount of goodwill doing his job in Vermont. He has earned an incredible amount of goodwill taking it to the rich for 5 or 10 or 20 years at different levels, right? There are a ton of Bernie Bros. There are a ton, Feel the Burn. That's a great, he has paid his dues. He has been out on the trail. He earned a lot of goodwill in 2016 by hustling and doing the best job he could. He earned goodwill by taking the snubs of the DNC, right? He has earned goodwill. He earned goodwill by going on Fox News when Elizabeth Warren goes, nope, I ain't going. Right? There's a limit to my communication. There's a limit to what I'm willing to do for the presidency. Right? Bernie has earned goodwill, and it wasn't handed to him, right? It didn't come because he was the vice president of somebody or he was somebody's number 2, right? This is Bernie's goodwill, and he every ounce of it, he picked it up, he ladled it himself, right? And that is his strength, right? Let's talk about Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang, that is the horse I got my money on, right? I think it, I am Yang all the way. I'm ride or die Yang from a political perspective, right? And so let's talk, what is his greatest weakness? Andrew Yang's greatest weakness, we saw it on Thursday at the debates. He is a practical professional. He is not a practiced politician, right? And the reality is he's new to this game, man. And when when words come out of his mouth, it sounds like a genuine, real person, right? Now, to me, I eat that up. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is great. I'm seeing somebody who's being genuine and being thoughtful. I love that genuineness. I love that sincerity. Other people are going like, oh, did he stutter? Did he not speak up? Did he get his mic cut because he didn't have the people to make sure that his mic were on before the meeting, right? It's hard. It is hard seeing a practical professional trying to do the job of a practiced politician, right? I hate to say it, when I saw Joe Biden yiggity yakking up on that stage on Thursday with the Democrats, man. That dude can talk, right? He's got a smooth delivery, and frankly, if there ain't no content, it's really easy to forget that, because he's got a great smile. He's standing tall, right? And he's got a little, little tail, or he's a raconteur. He's got a story in what he's saying, right? It doesn't even matter if there isn't a message there, right? Because he's practiced his whole life to keep your attention, to make you feel like you're hearing something of significance, even if you aren't, right? And Andrew Yang ain't got that, right? If he doesn't have something important to say, right, he's going to keep his mouth shut, right? Just like a normal, practical professional would do, right? And so that's a tough part, and I think he's going to fix it, but this weakness, it's a weakness that I particularly love, but a lot of people didn't understand it on Thursday, and it is a weakness at the macro level, right? Because most people when they look at a politician, there's something they're expecting to see, right? And that's real. That's very, very real, okay? All right. What is Andrew Yang's greatest strength? Boy, does he have an awesome strength, man. Universal benefit, okay? Not UBI, not universal basic income, but universal benefit. UBI is $1,000 a month for every single living American adult, okay? Who doesn't want $1,000 a month? I'll tell you who doesn't. The 1%, right? Let's give Bernie some props for calling out one of the better demographics, right? The 1%, the super wealthy, they don't want $1,000. 99 want it, right? Everybody else is like, yeah, I could use $1,000 a month, right? That's real. That's practical. That is a benefit, right? And the reality is, it goes to everybody, right? It skips all the identity politics. It says everybody gets the same, right? Every living America, $1,000 a month. It's not so much you're going to quit your job, but it's not so much that you're going to ignore it either. It's important, and it's real, and it's universal, right? And people are going to universally love it, except the 1%, right? Now the other thing is the fight against automation, universal benefit. Everybody but the 1% is like, oh my gosh, my job absolutely is in danger of automation, right? Some people are like, oh my gosh, my job was automated away last year, okay? Some people are like, oh my gosh, my job's going to be automated away in a year from now. There are some people who are like, man, I write code, right? I ain't going to be automated away for 10 years. But they're still in their mind like, oh, what do I do in 10 years, man? Maybe it'd be cool if there was 8 years of a president who was fighting to make sure that everybody whose job was going to be automated away was going to be able to retrain or be able to get, put a little away, right? The fight against automation and the universal basic income are so broad and so beautiful and so wonderful and so perfectly crafted, right, as a benefit that helps everybody. It's really powerful. And I think his strength is universal benefit. Universal benefit. Okay? All right, let's talk about the numbers. All right, so I've given you the strengths and the weaknesses. Let me give you my numbers on who is going to be able to deliver, right? So what does each one of them have a chance of winning, right? Here's my numbers. I think Andrew Yang has a 33% chance of winning, and the reason why is I think every single day that goes forward, people are going to go, oh my gosh, every other candidate, Biden, Sanders, Warren, Harris, they're all tweakers, right? They're all tweaking an existing plan, right? But Andrew Yang, that's real. I've never seen anything like that, right? This is transformative. This is something we've really never tried at scale. And frankly, the idea of fighting automation that's so new and so fresh, this dude has to have something. He has to know something real, okay? Next, I think Harris, she has a 25% chance of winning. And the reason why is the aggression part. She dominated that debate. I think she was wrong to do it the way she did. She went low rather than high. She was clearly not listening to Michelle Obama. I'm not sure she even heard that speech, right? Clearly never heard that speech, right? And I think that's, but the reality is America just loves aggression. I think she has a 25% chance of winning. Warren, Elizabeth Warren, I think she's third in the group. I think she has a 22% chance of winning the election. And the reason why is the plans are real and they're good, right? And then Sanders, I think he has a 15% chance. I think he could really take the distance, but the socialist tag is deadly. It is killing him. It's cutting through all the work he's done, right? And then last, I think Biden has a 5% chance, and the reason why is he doesn't want to be there, and I think that becomes more clear to every single American every single day. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.